It's once again pouring rain, so we're doing a little cleanup duty, and we just kind of came to this. Another pile of extremely expensive parts. That's gonna go sit right over there. And even though it's raining, we did get a box. Alright, let's see what came in the box. Oh, damn. Don't look at that. Okay. Yeah, we know it's raining. What we got in here? Aha! We're making our own. I do a Brady cable. That'll work. Hey lifers, welcome back to Race Boat Life. At the moment, we're sitting in the 19, and you may have noticed our carburetor looks a little short here. That's because there is none. Got my boat leaf. The deal is this, as much as, you know, it pains me to say this on Race Boat Life, this boat is always #1 priority. And what I mean by that is that when a boat gets an upgrade, it usually comes here first. And a lot of times, every other boat gets its leftovers. I don't know why it works that way, but it just does. Maybe because it's the oldest one I've got in the stable. Not in age, but I've had this boat, like I've said before, a very long time. And it's become part of the family almost in that sense. You know, it's just, it's one that you could come here with a suitcase full of cash and I really don't think we'd sell it. Would I ever consider selling this boat? Short answer, no. Long answer, hell no. With all this carburetor stuff going on, I couldn't resist doing a few minor upgrades to the 800 that sits on here. So I accomplished those in secret because I don't want to give away everything. And now I'm just going to go ahead and slap it on while it's still shady over here because it is cooking hot out at the moment. And after I'm done with this, I'm going to have to move over to the 24, which is actually sitting right in sunlight at the moment, so, and probably will be for the next 4 or 5 hours. So I'll have to go do this and probably find out what my wife was sneaking around the corner about. What you want? So after days and days and days of working on carburetors, we couldn't resist. We had to do something with a 19. Our gas tank is as old as the boat, which puts it at about 47 years old, and it's aluminum. And it likes to shut off crap. So we're using these real fine, I don't know, what are they, like 5 micron or some kind of crap like that, filters. And they get dirty every now and then, so we just clean them out, and it's just the easy way to, until we replace the tank, which we're trying not to do ever, but it may come one day. Long story short, you know, if the filter was getting dirty, we're a little afraid that maybe something was collecting in the bottom of the bowls, and believe it or not, we found nothing. And I mean, I have real issues with what comes out of this tank, so. And so these little guys work. I mean, they really do. And like I said, if you got proper mounting, like this is, that can't go nowhere. so you can actually have that. But that's just my theory. But once again, I mean, this carburetor is so easy to install. As you saw, it took like, what, I don't know, 5 seconds on fast forward, which was probably about 5 minutes in reality. It's really nice to work with something that is just putting it back where it came from. I mean, that's pretty simple. But with this done, I was hoping my air cleaners would come in so I could get this replaced also. But that was through my Amazon account, and if you remember in the last video, the wife has the Prime account, so I may not see him for another 3 months. We just checked tracking, and it looks like our filter is going to show up tomorrow. So I guess it means we get to uncover the boat again tomorrow. Maybe we'll go burn some petrol while we do it. But for now, I just need to cover it back up. So hold on 1 second. Our Rocky Horror fans will recognize this. We kind of thought it fit the boat. I mean, it's old and it was fast, time warp, get it? But it does have a play in the mind also. Because if you've seen the movie, you know the song, and if you know the song, every time you see it, it runs through my mind. Let's do the time warp again. The plan always has been, for myself, I mean, I probably haven't shared this with anybody, but the plan always was to get the 24 fixed, because it's the biggest and the biggest pain. Straighten out a couple issues with the 19, which, as you've documented in the past, we've been dealing with. And as the summer progressed, because it gets warmer out, then we can start fooling with a Biesmeyer, because, I've seen jet skis that you stay drier on. I don't know what the deal is, but you always end up taking something right over the bow and end up with it like soaked from like here up. I mean, you look like you just got hit by a bucket of water this way, and then be completely dry down here at the bottom. So it's just nature of the beast. And you know, it's a progression. Go from the race boat to 19 to the Biesmeyer, and then off to the Donzi. I need to finish up some things on that, and we are pretty close to being here right now. So I'm hoping by the end of summer I actually have everything 100%. At least that's the plan. But the 24 keeps taking us back over and over and over again. And what I thought was going to be clean up, I thought this was going to turn into like 3 or 4 videos, maybe a couple of videos on the water, and that was pretty much the end of race boat life. I think at this point we're over 40 episodes, because we just keep going back and forth with this thing, and it is just real life. I mean, I didn't document this, or I didn't create this to be this way, because trust me, I don't want to spend the money, because I ain't making nothing off of you guys. So I mean, just sharing the love, you know, sharing the knowledge, the wealth. But like I said, this guy's been kicking us back and forth a few times, so it hasn't let us progress down the line. But the Beezy's coming up soon. And as I said, I mean, this was more of a PM type thing with a 19 with the carburetor. It wasn't even, I wouldn't even consider it a rebuild. It was pretty much just to make sure it was clean inside. Do some minor little things here and there. So now we got something to do for that time suck itself. Right there. So I think it's about time we get to it. Another visit to the Fiberglass Freedom Machine here. As much as I want to guesstimate on these hoses, I don't think I should guesstimate. So last night I was up late and I was thinking, you know, what the hell? I'll go walk to the garage and make a couple hoses. Then I got out there and I thought to myself, oh, it was only a couple inches bigger than this one that, you know, I had one of the old ones in hand. And I was thinking, but what if it's only an inch longer? Or what if it's only an inch shorter?
I mean, I really don't want 2-foot long hoses sticking out here, you know, next to the manifolds. I just want it to go from A to B, and whatever it takes to get there. I think I'm going to do it this way, though. And I'm thinking that's about what I want. Thinking right about there. Mark it with some black tape, and I think we're good to go. Oh, you need to come with us. Alright, first thing we got to say is we've never done this before. But we did stay at a Raceboat Life Inn last night, so we do feel qualified. Huh. I was expecting the 1, but not the 3. The air filters are not supposed to show up until tomorrow. But that one for the BZ didn't show up yet, and it's after 5. Gotta love tracking. And just a FYI for you all, I found out the other day that when Amazon says that something is confirmed delivery, it may not be, and can take up to another 36 hours. I don't understand that whole part, but that's what we found out. While we were at the Raceboat Life Inn, we decided that we were going to watch a YouTube video because it wasn't really helping our intelligence much. And one of those things is to cut it with this guy. So that'll be our chopping thing. The next thing we learned about was that you tape off your end where you're actually going to cut it at. That's why we actually marked ours with tape. And leave the tape on, that way it splits. It doesn't tend to want to fray out. But we now have to cut ourselves 4 hoses this long. Y'all want to witness Mark doing his first and fitting? I did watch it online, so I guess I cheated a little bit. Well, the first one was kind of a disaster. Yeah, that didn't turn out too well. And I think really the reasoning is because I let some of the braiding get out of hand. And it just went nuts. And just kept falling apart. But that seemed a whole lot easier this time. You just screw them on. Like I said, you really want to keep that braiding really tight. And then make sure your fingers aren't little baby fingers, because you're going to need to squeeze all that stuff inside that end. You know, like this end here, you'd have to get it all inside of there. And then the screws on inside, you just screw it on. That's pretty simple enough. So the next trick is you should oil this end a little bit, which I have some oil sitting right here. Not too much, you don't want it in your fuel line. And stick it in. Now they have this special advice that they use. I just put a wrench in my vise and got me a deep dish socket here. And I'm just going to put the red fitting on one and use the socket to drive it in. Until it stops. I'm sure if you're building a show car or something, you'd probably want to put a little protection on it, not to mar it up, but even as rough as I was, they came out fine. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. Now I got to cut another piece of hose to replace the one I just screwed up, and I got 7 more to go. With a bunch of empty boxes, I've got these bad boys. Sweetness. And the nice thing about these is they're a whole lot bigger than these. I mean, I don't think it was really necessary being a double pumper now, but holy shnikes. That's pretty darn big. I'm kind of learning that you go big fitting, small hose. I mean, like this is a 6AN, this is a 6AN, but it's a tiny little hose. This is a much thicker hose. Wow, I should measure it real quick. Yeah, I mean, you can take an account for the sheathing the way you want to, but this one here is 0.446. The new one's 0.532. So this is at least a 3/8 line. And for God's sakes, this one's probably closer to, I don't know, 1/4 inch. These are some boss fuel lines, man. Rock and roll. In full race boat life honesty, I was putting away the fiberglass Freedom machine there, and I had to take one up and go look, and I wasn't really happy. So in embarrassment, basically, I decided that I needed to take each one of these off by about a 1/2 inch. Doesn't sound like much, but you know, when they're sticking out from the sides of the carburetor, a 1/2 inch makes a big difference on whether it's a giant loop or a nice kind of D shape or crescent moon. And one of the reasons why we had to, I mean, our measurements were right, so we were accounting for fittings that have these big collars on them, and these are a whole lot more flexible. I mean, I can turn these almost into an 8 if I wanted to. These guys are not nearly as flexible, and they tend to kink, as like that one already has. So there's just a little bit of finagling. We looked at it and thought, you know, what else are we doing? So we took them off a 1/2 inch. Now I have to wait to install them. You all, on the other hand, have to. Yeah. Hey lifers, welcome back to Race Boat Life. Today, I don't want to say today. Hey lifers, welcome back to Race Boat Life. At the moment we're sitting in the It's once again being, and even though it's just, we have to do something a little different. Fucking check my email. See which one's gonna show up today. Oh, I'll turn this off. I was looking at my bulb and it looked like it actually had water in it. That was weird. What a weird shadow that was. Alright, back to the thing. Carburetors from all makes and models here. Probably should look more at something else besides the thermostat. Alright, y'all want to listen? Once again. Alright, y'all want to witness Mark doing it? I mean, strike that. Strike that from the record. Edit, 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 edit. And just a, yeah, give it a second here. And just a, alright, save the copyright. And we'll edit, cut, and edit, print.